Excusez-moi, monsieur.
Pardon me.
What's this I hear about the police boarding the train last night?
It was Mr. Newell. It was the French gendarmes. They found the body of a dead man on the tracks near Paris. They think it has been thrown from a train. Naturally, it was a mistake. It has nothing to do with us.
No, of course not. Ridiculous, really, the idea of a murder on the Orient Express. I don't suppose they happened to mention if they'd identified the body.
I believe he was a foreigner, monsieur.
Was he? A foreigner? How interesting. Excuse me, I couldn't help wondering, is that Miss Anna Wolfe that was playing the violin just now?
Yes, monsieur. It is our honor to have Miss Wolfe traveling with us.
How delightful. And the private car in the back, that wouldn't be, His Excellency Prince Kronos now, would it?
Yes, monsieur.
How interesting. They say he hardly travels at all in Europe anymore. Just goes to show you. Huh. I understand Count Obolensky was quite ill during the night.
He's much better today, monsieur. Fortunately, we had a doctor on board.
A doctor? Not a Russian doctor?
No, sir. An American. Monsieur Whitney.
How interesting. Is he actually treating the Count, then?
He has given him a sedative, monsieur.
Sedative?
I believe a sort of herbal tea.
Oh, well, I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Still, it does seem a little irregular. Not that we English see anything wrong with a cup of tea. It can do wonders for an upset stomach. Still, one rather expects to see the usual paraphernalia. A doctor's bag instills confidence and so on. Given the importance of the patient, I mean. I suppose Mr. Whitney is travelling with quite a bit of luggage.
Monsieur?
Oh, you know, so many Americans do.
I cannot say, monsieur.
Must be the fellow I passed just now in the smoking car. Rather young, isn't he, for a doctor?
I believe he is young, yes.
I must say, he didn't look at all like the usual sort of American one expects to see on these trains. You know, flashing money about. Quite the opposite, in fact. Rather unusual for a young fellow like that to book a double compartment, prices being what they are and all that. Wouldn't you say?
I do not know, monsieur.
Well, I suppose he wants his privacy. Nothing wrong with that.
Monsieur, I really must return now.
No, of course, of course. Don't let me keep you.
Thank you, monsieur. Au revoir.
Premier service.
Pardon me.
Premier service. Le déjeuner est servi. Lunch is served.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
Premier service. Premier service. Le déjeuner est servi. Lunch is served. Premier service.
Excuse me.
Premier service. Premier
Bonjour,
service. Le déjeuner est...
Pardon me?
Oh, excuse me. We seem to be sharing a compartment. No, please don't get up. I'll just sit here and read the paper. Don't mind me at all. It appears the train's quite full. Awful nuisance when you think you've got a compartment to yourself and then they stick a complete stranger in with you at the last minute. Happened to me any number of times. George Abbott.
Claude Boutarel.
French, then, are you? Are you going all the way to Constantinople?
I am traveling to a small town on the Gulf Coast of Persia with my wife and son.
Oh, lovely. Then that must be your family I saw next door.
It is most probable.
By the way,
Excusez-moi,
I was wondering,
monsieur.
you haven't seen a red cravat anywhere, have you? I was just unpacking and it seems to have disappeared.
I believe my son has taken it.
Really? What was the name of the town you mentioned?
Masjid et Suleiman.
Of course, the new oil refinery they're building at Abadan. I say, you're not working for Anglo-Persian, are you?
Why not?
Well, I suppose you being a Frenchman, I just assume...
I am an engineer, monsieur. The Anglo-Persian company is doing the most innovative research in oil exploration.
Yes. Well, wouldn't want the Royal Navy to be caught short of fuel oil, would we? Tell me, are the reserves in that little town, what's it called again, really as big as they say?
I cannot offer an opinion, monsieur.
No, of course you wouldn't. Quite brave of your wife to go all that way and live in the desert.
She would not wish to be without me. And it will be a good opportunity for François. He has a fine scientific mind.
Seems like a very active little boy. I don't suppose you could ask him for my cravat?
I think now that I remember him using it as a kind of sieve to test salinity in the water. Most remarkable in a boy of 7. Don't you agree?
Quite remarkable.
It is the natural curiosity of the scientific mind, monsieur.
Yes, and all that trapped in the body of a little boy. Oh, good Lord. Not this silly business with Madame K.O. again. So typical. To devote weeks on end of the front page to this preposterous murder trial. One would think nothing else was happening in the whole of Europe. Well, tell me, you're a Frenchman. What's your opinion of the affair? Why do the tawdry details of a murder trial exert such a fascination for the public mind? And not to say it only happens in France, of course. The English papers are much better. But still, the French do push it rather far. 6 columns across the front page of La Figaro, with complete transcripts of the trial on page 12. It is a bit much. Don't you agree?
Excuse me. It is time I took my family to lunch.
Is it noon already? My goodness, so it is. Perhaps I'll see you in the restaurant car then.
Je crois qu'il convoite la petite chanteuse Angélique du numéro 11 qui nous a donné une sérénade toute la matinée. Quand un homme du monde veut attirer l'attention d'une jolie femme, tu peux compter sur lui pour qu'il dépense beaucoup d'argent.
Si tu as bien vu, peut-être que j'en serai bénéficiaire. De toute façon, je garde espoir que le garde du corps du harem sera plus généreux. Tu sais à qui ils appartiennent?
C'est pas vrai.
Avec quelqu'un comme ça, on ne sait jamais. Il vous traite comme un moins que rien, vous crache dans la figure, vous menace. Et puis un petit cadeau à la fin du voyage et on peut prendre sa retraite sur la Côte d'Azur.
La Côte d'Azur, c'est pas pour moi. Mes plans de retraite sont faits et ils ne sont pas en France. 1914 sera ma dernière année en Europe.
C'est dur d'attendre, pas vrai?
Si tu pouvais voir la jolie petite maison qui m'attend à Alger, l'Europe ne te manquerait pas non plus.
François et moi venons nous installer à Abadan pour vous offrir une maison respectable. Chercher du pétrole dans le désert. Pourquoi ne sommes-nous pas restés à Villefranche? Votre situation était enviable. Notre petite maison était si jolie. Mon jardin était prêt à fleurir. Y aura-t-il des jardins à Abadan?
Le désert n'est pas réputé pour ses jardins, mais pour son pétrole.
Et quand il n'y aura plus de pétrole, François sera aussi sauvage qu'un nomade du désert. Il est déjà tellement impossible. Il rampe par terre et ramasse toujours les choses les plus sales.
Maman, regarde à la fenêtre. Il y a un cimetière.
Le sol est un endroit naturel pour trouver des insectes.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
Oh, il est impossible de vous parler.
The piano is a
Le
little bit
chien,
more difficult.
maintenant le violet. C'est vraiment incroyable. Je veux à tout prix parler au chef de train.
Est-ce que c'était elle assise avec le gros monsieur?
François, je t'ordonne de
If
manger.
you would find it very boring, but without going into detail, I will say that my work here is not only commerce, and that in my own small way, I'm doing my part for the fatherland.
Good afternoon.
Monsieur, welcome. Please follow me. We have a nice table for you right here in the corner.
Thank you.
Enjoy your lunch, monsieur.
Yes, monsieur.
The escallop. That's a sort of veal cutlet, isn't it?
The escalope de veau. Yes, monsieur.
Well, I'll have that. Well done, please.
Very good, monsieur.
Mind if I join you?
No, by all means. I don't believe we've been introduced. George Abbott.
Tyler Whitney.
What foul weather. Can't seem to get out of this storm. It must be raining all across Europe. Quite remarkable, really. I understand you've made friends with the Obolenskis. You must introduce me. I'm fascinated by Russia. That was quite a scare you had last night. The chef de train told me you handled it quite well. You didn't happen to notice whether the other Russian fellow, what's his name, the young fellow, was hanging about?
I don't recall seeing him.
I'm afraid the old man has quite lost his head. Still, he has played a role for years as a sort of informal ambassador for the Tsar, if you know what I mean. I didn't know you were a doctor.
And you?
Oh, I'm travelling on business. Every now and then the company has a little matter to take care of on the continent, so off I go. Isn't she enchanting? That violinist, Miss Wolfe, she seems to be getting on rather well with Herr Schmidt. Not her type, I would have thought. Rather a surprise to see Herr Schmidt here. One would think he'd have his hands full back in Germany, what with his factories stepping up production and all that. Such an industrious people, the Germans. I wonder what business he has in the East. But you haven't told me a thing about yourself. Will you be going far?
All the way to Constantinople.
Oh, how lovely. Business or pleasure?
Actually, I'm traveling for my health.
Yes, so nice to get away from one's troubles, assuming one has any. New climates, new horizons and all that. Of course, I don't need to tell you that, you being a doctor. Quite a coincidence your being a doctor, and an American, I mean. When I boarded at Munich, the police were looking for an American doctor who'd got away from the police in Paris. Apparently he's mixed up with those Irish fanatics, Home Rule and all that, the ones that killed that policeman. Papers were full of it. Anyhow, it seems that this young doctor is in quite a bit of trouble.
Don't believe everything you read in the papers.
No, but I do. It's so much more fun that way. Still, it's none of my concern. I say, that jacket looks a bit short of the arms. Was it a French tailor who took it in for you?
I think I'll go check on the Oblinskis.
Yes, of course. Look forward to seeing you again. What a pleasant fellow.